So, the tech landscape has evolved massively, and many beginners are intimidated by headlines about AI and tech layoffs. Why is it still entirely possible to build an impactful tech career with zero background or a degree?
Well, the one thing a lot of people have to realize is the AI revolution is real, but it doesn't affect every tech job equally. Because don't forget, I help you become a system administrator, a system engineer that builds the infrastructure on which AI works, on which coding happens, on which database administration happens. This layer called the infrastructure layer, the operating system layer, will always exist. In fact, it's even more important, more relevant, and more ubiquitous as AI, as cloud computing grows. So this space, one thing that has changed a lot in it is that it requires more automation, but it's not going away and it's not being overtaken by AI. And another thing I like to tell people is AI cannot the AI cannot actually troubleshoot itself. So the operating system underlying the large language model cannot troubleshoot itself. So they still need system engineers, system operators to go in and actually do this work. So yes, the AI boom is disrupting a lot of tech jobs, but infrastructure in general is still going to be there. In fact, it's going to actually grow as we use more AI and cloud computing.
Yeah, I agree. That's what we tell a lot of people. And the fact that some industries aren't going to just jump to using AI right away because they simply just don't trust it. And what's recently been happening is so many companies have told the people to stop using AI because they're spending more in tokens than they ever spent before, and to where it's costing more than the payroll that they had to pay.
What happened with Uber and what's happening with AI is that because there was so much money being invested, there's a lot of subsidizing that was
Hmm.
happening. So now they're trying to actually bring the cost of doing business, the cost of AI forward, and it's showing to be too costly. 2 years, 3 years ago, it was very subsidized. Now, when we are trying to see the real cost of running AI, sometimes it's way more expensive, way more unpredictable than hiring people. I think that's what's really happening, and it's not the first technology where this is
Yeah,
happening.
I
It's
think
just
it's aching to remember everybody was trying to go to cloud adoption, but they really weren't focused on how much it was costing them in the cloud because they thought it was just going to be so much cheaper than being on prem. And then they quickly realized that they had these expensive cloud bills. So I believe it's the same thing. That's when they're going to start. They're probably going to do like I know cloud has FinOps where they focus on keeping costs in the cloud affordable or certain like a certain level. The same thing probably going to be going on for AI with tokens and everything else. I'm pretty sure of it.
yeah, it's the same thing they do, like you say, for cloud. They put some of the workload that makes sense on cloud and some on premise. It's the same thing. There are still going to be jobs that are done by humans that is going to still be more efficient, cheaper, and more um, makes more financial sense to be done by humans. And some are going to be outsourced. Some more.
This video is being sponsored by Yellowtail Tech. If you're feeling completely stuck in a dead end job, making less than your worth, and wishing you could break into tech, I need you to stop scrolling and listen up for a second. You don't need a fancy computer science degree or a background in coding to change your life. In fact, 90% of the students who go through Yellowtail Tech start exactly where you are right now, at absolute zero. This is why I fully support Yellowtail Tech. They aren't one of those massive high volume boot camps that just take your money and leave you hanging. They focus on the quality over quantity. In just 6 to 9 months, they give you all the hands-on training you need with AWS and Linux and the actual career coaching you need to land a high-paying IT job. But let me be completely real with you. They handpick their students. They don't care about your past, but they do care about your future. They care about your determination. If you're not serious about putting in the work to change your life, they aren't interested. But if you're ready to build a real high-paying career, let's get you on the right track. Click the link in my description and book your free career strategy session with Yellowtail Tech today.
Repetitive jobs are going to be outsourced to AI. So I think that's where it's gonna fall anyway. But no one is just gonna fire people just because AI is coming.
There seems to be a problem right now in with ed tech programs, whether it's a boot camp or it's a program, whether the boot camp is actual even boot camp in itself, or they just marked up people getting so many different certifications where they may not even really get anything from the boot camp. So the question was, how do you design a curriculum that will be the sweet spot for people that are also still working a regular job?
Yeah, actually, this is a place we find ourselves always. There is no space for us because even on the platforms I'm being reviewed, I have to present what we offer at Yellowtail as a boot camp, but we don't see ourselves as a boot camp because by definition, a boot camp implies that it's fast, it's short, and it's high pressure, and this is not what we are trying to deliver. Our programs are unusually longer. They are longer than a boot camp, but shorter than going to college. So we've tried to find that sweet spot because, after all, we are catering to people with no tech background. So it's very important to actually pace the way we deliver the program. That's the first question. The first thing I want to address in your question. The second thing is, how do we design the program and itself? Is that we don't only train you to the certification. We train you to make sure you are able to show up in a space and actually deliver as a system administrator. After that, that's why a program, you do 4 months of training to become a sysadmin, and then you do 2 months of cert prep to become a Red Hat certified system administrator. The reason why both are important, it's because the first one helps you do the job. The second one helps you get the credential to actually cut through the noise. And this is why we don't only stop here and there because we know there's the catch 22 in the industry. You need a job to get the experience, but where do you get the experience to get the job? So we added an apprenticeship with the program where you're going to be working with real servers from a company to do the hands-on necessary to be able to show up and say, I've done that. You see, now we have a partnership with a company. Now, you are not working on production environment, but you are working with production level environment, and we are working with commercial tools. So it's very important that we not only train you on what it is you need to do, but create that environment where you're getting that hands-on. You can show up, you can use that credential on your resume and say, I've done this, I've solved that, I was able to troubleshoot this. So now, one thing we've added to the program, because our program is an iterative process. We've been improving, seeing the feedback for the past 10 years, is that especially lately, mastering automation in an infrastructure environment is very important. That's why we've added an automation certification and training to make sure that when you go to market, you can cut through the noise because Red Hat gets you a job, but automation certification on top of understanding Linux and having that certification, it gets you a job faster. So that's why we try to do add anything that we understand is going to dramatically increase your chances to actually go to market and be able to get a job.